Hello everyone, today I'm looking at Psychopomp. I was kind of sold this game as it was super weird and trippy and psychedelic, which I'm very much into this kind of game. But I honestly didn't super like this one. I do appreciate some of the music and the settings and what it's going for, but the issue I have with it is that it's kind of disjointed. Like, yes, there's a lot of schizo kind of writing, but it's not really connected with anything. For example, like the ending song is about cutting someone up to pieces and hiding their, remains from the government, and that just never happens in the game. Like it's not reflective of anything. It's just actual. It's not actual schizobabble because real schizobabble actually has meaningful connection. But anyway, and so the game it basically opens up with the main character, this girl who builds this helmet that allows her to see unseen things, so like demons and creatures and animals, that. And she goes underneath government buildings to begin find this um, interconnected puzzle, basically. And that's pretty much all the game is a bunch of random stuff that's really kind of happening without, again, any kind of overarching story. And so the actual structure of the game, I think, is pretty interesting, actually. So, I mean, first of all, the game itself, the actual gameplay, the way it functions, is very interesting. It's on that old school grid system. So, you can move forward, back, turn left, right, but it's basically on like a dungeon crawler, basically, system, but it's a lot more fluid. You do have a sprint function with a meter, and you have point and click features, but it's definitely not a slow paced point and click game with backtracking and puzzle solving. There is some puzzle solving, but it's really not too intense. Like, this is a very, very indie, very early, very rough kind of where it's just being chiseled out all the features. I think what its strongest aspect is probably the art style. To be honest, it's just very unique, and the writing. Honestly, sometimes the writing is actually very funny, because they just say the opposite of what you expect, and so just sometimes it's actually just very entertaining. Honestly. But that's only like one level, and that's the other thing about this game that is, I guess, good, is that it's very, very short. There's like, you start with 3 levels, then you go to the second area with 2 levels, and then you go to the last area with 1 level, and that's pretty much it. And then there's an epilogue where they do like the beginning of the second game, and they even have the main menu changed to like Psychopomp 2 for a second. So kind of like a little teaser or a epilogue, basically. So I thought that was kind of cool, but it is very rough, very abstract. It's very, very cool, and it's super, super short. You could beat it in a few hours, but I think it's a good start for a first time project or something. And so yeah, you have 4 different features. You can look at things, talk to things, touch things, or attack things using. And so yeah, there is combat in this game. It's very rudimentary and it's pretty basic. It's funny, actually. The first major enemy I encountered just killed me. I had to restart the whole level, and I was very anxious after that. I kind of thought, oh, maybe I don't even want to play this. Maybe I want to quit because if I'm just going to keep losing. And so the strategy that the meta you find is that you just keep walking backwards and attacking, because you can attack 2 spaces in front of you, but the enemy can only attack you at the 1 space level. So you just keep backing up and attacking it. That works. And yeah, most of these levels revolve around certain buildings, environment, the characters, the environments, the writing. Everything is super abstract. And for example, there's this one hospital level where you have to end the life support for Alexander the Great, Cleopatra, and Plato, but they're these weird deformed versions of them filled with TV screens. It's all very abstract, and it's very, again, cool. There's another a level based entirely around DNA, and there's a little DNA puzzle. And again, these puzzles, they're very rudimentary. The combat encounter is super rudimentary. I think the music is doing a lot of heavy lifting. And honestly, when I think about it, in game, in the level, there's very little music. It's kind of like mood sounds, if you will. But the main music is kind of like the main menu. Honestly, it's quite a nice mood. And again, yeah, there's no real story. The more I talk about it, the more I actually don't like it. But it was a super short experience. I'm glad I played it. Um, yeah, there's not much else to really talk about, honestly. I kind of came in here expecting something a lot more, and I guess I'm fine with what I got, but yeah, very experimental. Definitely not a full fledged. It doesn't have to be a full fledged game, but it's not even a full fledged experience. It's not like we started at one point and came to an end point and we received a new piece of knowledge or whatever. It feels more like an experiment rather than an actual finished product or experience. So that's all I really have to say about it, honestly. Um, yeah. Anyway, so that's Psychopomp. It's all right, but I think that this developer has much more potential and is going to make something much better than the future. But anyway, that's it for